Prezi is a free online dynamic presentation tool. For your Prezi project, you can just log in using our class account information and clicking on the tiny login link in the bottom right of your screen. You will be asked for the email address and the password. Check the Prezi assignment to find our Professional Writing for Electronic Media login information. Once you log in, you'll be in the Professional Writing account and you will see a whole bunch of Prezis that students in past semesters have created. Once you're ready to start your own Prezi, click on the very first option that says New Prezi. A new tab will launch, the software will load, and now you get to choose a template. On the one hand, you have less to set up. On the other hand, it might be more than you need and you have to delete things. Remember, you're creating a Prezi that you could use in your professional career. If you're a future teacher, your Prezi should be targeted at students. If you're a future politician, you might target your Prezi at voters or possible donors. If you're a future creative writer or artist, you might use a Prezi to dynamically present your poetry or your photography. If none of the templates looks quite right, you can always start a blank Prezi, which is what I'm going to do to show you how to do everything from scratch. Prezi works with frames rather than slides. Check the project assignment to see how many frames or views you need in your Prezi. The blank one comes preloaded with a circle frame, and as I hover my mouse over it, it almost gets highlighted. If I click, I can select this frame. If I want, I can change from a circle frame to a bracket, to a rectangle, or to an invisible frame, which doesn't have any border and is just the color of the background. You can always change the frame by hovering over the border, waiting till it highlights, and then tapping once with your mouse. I'm going to go back to the rectangle frame simply because it's easier to see. Once I've settled on a frame, I can start adding text. When I click once on the text box, it launches my menu. You have 3 general font types, a title, a subtitle, and body text. You can make things bigger or smaller. You have a color menu, as well as bold and italic. Your next option puts in a predetermined background color. I cannot change this unless I go to the top middle of the screen with what looks like an artist's paintbrush and the word Customize. When I click on Customize, it allows me to select some different themes. So I could change to fresh. Be careful about color options that use very light text or white text on a dark or black background. This goes against the rules of good slide design that you need to use for both your Google presentation and your Prezi. I'm going to select Glacier for now, and when I'm done customizing, I can simply X out of the Customize menu and return to my frame to click and add text. To add text, simply start typing. If I drag on the corner of the box, it gets larger. If I drag on the side of the box, it only expands horizontally. If I want to move this, now that it's going off of my frame, I click once outside the text box, and now I can click and hold with my mouse and drag it around. And I can keep dragging it around. If I decide I need to change the text, I click on it once, and now I have to click on the small Edit Text icon. This will put me back into my editing menu. I do the same thing with any other default text box, and I can move this around. To add another text box, click outside the frame once. I automatically have a new text box. I can change the font, I can change the color, and I can start typing. I click outside the box, and I can drag the text box anywhere I want. How do I insert something more interesting, like a picture or a video? At the top middle of your screen, next to the Customize option, is an Insert menu. This is where I can insert an image, preloaded Prezi symbols and shapes, which include things like small people, paper clips, computer screens. I can directly embed a YouTube video, which is great for the classroom. I can highlight text. I can include arrows. Let's look at how I insert an image. When I select this option, a menu pops up to my right where I can select files that I already have loaded on my hard drive, or I can search Google for images. The search function automatically searches everything on Google. And if you've read the lectures about finding images and rules about copyright, I can't use just anything that I find online. There's a tiny globe with a caret for a pull-down menu. I can search simply in Google Images, or if I want to be super careful, I can show only images licensed for commercial use. I'm not trying to make any money off of this, but if an image is licensed for commercial use, this tends to mean that whoever put it up doesn't mind if you make money off of it. So let's go ahead and click this. And because I've just promised voters that I'm going to save them money, I'm going to search for money and then click the search icon. Images that I like, I simply click and drag directly into my frame. The image will process and it now appears. If I use the plus button, it gets bigger. If I use the minus button, it gets smaller. I can do the same thing by pulling on the corners of the image. If I want to rotate the image, I hover over one of the corner buttons until the arrow changes from a double-headed straight one to a curved one. And then I can rotate this image however I want. So there's my image, but I can't simply have a presentation with one view. How do I make another frame? When you have a predetermined template, you already have multiple frames. To add an additional frame, hover your mouse over the far right of your screen. You'll get a home button, a zoom in button, and also a zoom out button. Hit this a couple of times. And then at the far left of your screen, determine what kind of frame you want next. Do I want another rectangle, an invisible frame, a bracket, a circle? I'll go with an invisible frame. And now, I know it's probably hard to see in the video, but this invisible frame is shaking a little bit. I can click and drag it into my workspace, and now I have a new frame. I can make it bigger, I can make it smaller, and there's also an option to zoom to the frame so I can work in it more easily. I click anywhere in the frame, I get my text box. Maybe I want my constituents to see one of my campaign speeches. I go to the Insert menu, and maybe I already have content, a video file that I want to upload, or maybe my video is on YouTube. If I click this option, it says simply, paste your YouTube link. So I have my YouTube link, I paste it, and I click on Insert. And here is the actual YouTube video. Just as with an image, I can drag it around, I can make it bigger, and notice as I move it, there is actually a play button here. If I click on the play button, the video will begin.
There is a new party, which it is difficult to characterize.
This is a great option, especially if you have young students and you want to use a YouTube video. because unlike going to YouTube itself, you don't have all the suggested videos popping up, which might be inappropriate for the grade level you're teaching. Over here on the left, you'll see that now I have 2 frames in my Prezi. If I want to see what it looks like, I can click on the blue Present button toward the top right of my screen. Here's my first frame, and I can use the arrows at the bottom to navigate forward. Here's my second one. To get out of Present mode, simply hit the Escape key, and you're back in editing. One of the great features of Prezi is its ability to zoom in and out. How does that work? I'm going to go to the right and decrease the size so I can see both of my frames at once. If I click on my second frame, I can make it much, much smaller. If I want, I can also spin it. Now when I click on Present, I get a much different effect moving from one frame to another. So that's how you do some of the cool zooming effects with Prezi. You can also animate content. Let's say I want this image to appear or fade in. The way I do this is I click on the Edit Path button, because then on the far left, in addition to saying 1 and 2, there's a tiny star. If I click on that star, I can animate the content that's already there. So you need to load everything into your frame and then animate it. The animation option allows you to click on any of your content to apply a fade-in effect. I'm going to click on my picture of money. There's a play button at the top for me to preview what this will look like. So it looks like this, and I click the Done button. You may not have noticed, but as we've been working, my presentation has been automatically saved. This is great. And if I try to exit without saving, I can't. It will save it for me. So here's my sample Prezi, which does not have nearly enough content. It's already public and reusable, which is perfect for submitting my assignment. When I'm completely done, and I have my name somewhere in the title or in the description, I can then click on the Share button at the bottom, which launches a pop-up window, and you have the ability to simply copy the link. So if I click Copy the link, now I can go into the discussion forum in eCourses and paste my link to submit my amazing, zoomable, professional Prezi.